is God? God is God.
I found out that this man, who was Dr. Malachi York,
This three-eye atlas thing, they're playing on the ignorance of the masses. They let you know what they want you to know.
I said I was going to take all y'all back to Egypt with me. I can't because the Arabs will mess everything up, so hell, I'm bringing Egypt here for you.
They've made so much jokes about aliens, but the word really is extraterrestrials or extra beings.
A sword myth. In our language, that means the black man.
They say, oh, it's a craft, and then you start to look at the whole Anunnaki thing. The devil was telling the truth, and God was lying.
Amongst us, we have those beings, those high beings, going back 9 billion years ago, who are here on the planet.
Extraterrestrials do leave their children here. We can name drop them. David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, caught up in their spiritual or their scientific knowledge of who they were, and they were caught up in both worlds. Within the center of the earth is hollow. There's beings that actually live and reside in there.
They now have fighter jets whereby it's connected to the pilot's subconscious.
Hitler was building this class in the Antarctic.
You can't claim innocence due to ignorance. It doesn't say at the beginning, it says in the beginning. That means during a replenishing period. So that means that the earth was already there.
Some lost their soul because they've mixed in with other creatures on the planet. And when you mix in with other creatures on a lower level.
Souls are recycled. Spirits are recycled. Most people have not been taught the information about the spirit and the soul.
Who is God? God is God.
I found out that this man, who was Dr. Malachi York,
This three-eye atlas thing, they're playing on the ignorance of the masses. They let you know what they want you to know.
I said I was going to take all y'all back to Egypt with me. I can't because the Arabs will mess everything up, so hell, I'm bringing Egypt here for you.
They've made so much jokes about aliens, but the word really is extraterrestrials or extra beings.
A sword myth. In our language, that means the black man.
They say, oh, it's a craft, and then you start to look at the whole Anunnaki thing. The devil was telling the truth, and God was lying.
Amongst us, we have those beings, those high beings, going back 9 billion years ago, who are here on the planet.
Extraterrestrials do leave their children here. We can name drop them. David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, caught up in their spiritual or their scientific knowledge of who they were, and they were caught up in both worlds. Within the center of the earth is hollow. There's beings that actually live and reside in there.
They now have fighter jets whereby it's connected to the pilot's subconscious.
Hitler was building this class in the Antarctic.
You can't claim ignorance. It doesn't say at the beginning, it says in the beginning. That means during a replenishing period. So that means that the earth was already there.
Some lost their soul because they've mixed in with other creatures on the planet. And when you mix in with other creatures on a lower level.
Souls are recycled. Spirits are recycled. Most people have not been taught the information about the spirit and the soul.
There's a concentrated stop. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. on the line for us all. And for the truth that lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. And how about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master.
Who is God? God is God.
I found out that this man, who was Dr. Malachi York,
This free-eye actors think they're playing on the ignorance of the masses. They let you know what they want you to know.
I said I was going to take all y'all back to Egypt with me. I can't because the Arabs will mess everything up, so hell, I'm bringing Egypt here for you.
They've made so much jokes about aliens, but the word really is extraterrestrials or extra beings.
A sword myth. In our language, that means the black man.
They say, oh, it's a craft, and then you start to look at the whole Anunnaki thing. The devil was telling the truth, and God was lying.
Amongst us, we have those beings, those high beings, going back 9 billion years ago, who are here on the planet.
Extraterrestrials do leave their children here. We can name drop them. David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, caught up in their spiritual or their scientific knowledge of who they were, and they were caught up in both worlds. Within the center of the earth is hollow. There's beings that actually live and reside in there.
They now have fighter jets whereby it's connected to the pilot's subconscious.
Hitler was building this craft in the Antarctic.
You can't claim innocence due to ignorance. It doesn't say at the beginning, it says in the beginning. That means during a replenishing period. So that means that the earth was already there.
Some lost their soul because they've mixed in with other creatures on the planet. And when you mix in with other creatures on a lower level.
Souls are recycled. Spirits are recycled. Most people have not been taught the information about their spirit and soul.
Who is God? God is God.
I found out that this man, who was Dr. Malachi York,
This free-eye actors think they're playing on the ignorance of the masses. They let you know what they want you to know.
I said I was going to take all y'all back to Egypt with me. I can't because the Arabs will mess everything up, so hell, I'm bringing Egypt here for you.
They've made so much jokes about aliens, but the word really is extraterrestrials or extra beings.
A sword myth. In our language, that means the black man.
They say, oh, it's a craft, and then you start to look at the whole Anunnaki thing. The devil was telling the truth, and God was lying.
Amongst us, we have those beings, those high beings, going back 9 billion years ago, who are here on the planet.
Extraterrestrials do leave their children here. We can name drop them. David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, caught up in their spiritual or their scientific knowledge of who they were, and they were caught up in both worlds. Within the center of the earth is hollow. There's beings that actually live and reside in there.
They now have fighter jets whereby it's connected to the pilot's subconscious.
Hitler was building this craft in the Antarctic.
You can't claim innocence due to ignorance. It doesn't say at the beginning, it says in the beginning. That means during a replenishing period. So that means that the earth was already there.
Some lost their soul because they've mixed in with other creatures on the planet. And when you mix in with other creatures on a lower level.
Souls are recycled. Spirits are recycled. Most people have not been taught the information about their spirit and soul.
is God. God is God.
I found out that this man, who was Dr. Malachi York,
This three-eyed atlas thing, they're playing on the ignorance of the masses. They let you know what they want you to know.
I said I was going to take all y'all back to Egypt with me. I can't because the Arabs are messing everything up, so hell, I'm bringing Egypt here for you.
They've made so much jokes about aliens, but the word really is extraterrestrials or extra beings.
A sword myth. In our language, that means the black man.
They say, oh, it's a craft, and then you start to look at the whole Anunnaki thing. The devil was telling the truth, and God was lying.
Amongst us, we have those beings, those high beings, going back 9 billion years ago, who are here on the planet.
Extraterrestrials do leave their children here. We can name drop them. David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, caught up in their spiritual or their scientific knowledge of who they were, and they were caught up in both worlds. Within the center of the earth is hollow. There's beings that actually live and reside in there.
They now have fighter jets whereby it's connected to the pilot's subconscious.
Hitler was building this craft in the Antarctic.
You can't claim innocence due to ignorance. It doesn't say at the beginning, it says in the beginning. That means during a replenishing period. So that means that the earth was already there.
Some lost their soul because they've mixed in with other creatures on the planet. And when you mix in with other creatures on a lower level.
Souls are recycled. Spirits are recycled. Most people have not been taught the information about the spirit and the soul.
Who is God? God is God.
I found out that this man, who was Dr. Malachi York,
This three-eyed
There's a concentrated stop. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, so come from earth we may be. But we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master.
I'm not sure if it's your end or mine.
All right, thanks for letting us know, but I'm sure that's going to
No problem. I did text in as well, but I didn't see anyone respond to it, so I just thought, because I
Okay.
can see you there, like, with your cup and all that stuff,
Thank
but
you,
there's no
thank you,
sound
thank
yet, so I'll
you.
just give you a heads up. But
Tal-
all right,
tak
I'll leave it
Zamal.
to you. Thank you.
And the other four. Okay, so I was saying, yeah, if anyone else has any issues, let us know, because we don't want to be talking and no one's hearing us, all right? But yeah, thanks for that, T. Okay, so I was saying, yeah, it's time to get your immune system strong. Nature, Nateru, Nataru, stay in tune with nature and nature will take care of you, all right? Yeah, welcome to everyone on Team OSM. That's when you join and become a channel member. And as usual, that is really important for us. But yeah, we want to say and give thanks to Pa Nabab Yanun for making all this possible. Without him, there will be no us, and you know how the world is changing. He's transforming the planet with right knowledge, right wisdom, and that right understanding. So do your part to help. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. We have some 8 billion people on the planet. So, you know, how can you help? What can you do? You can share the videos, subscribe, comment, make your own videos, repost our videos. We need to reach the planet, you know, because the more people that are practicing, or not practicing, but living Wu-Sabat, the more we're able to make that change on the planet. Remember, everything's about vibration and frequency. Yeah, that collective mind, that's what changes and builds the reality that we're all, you know, part of. So it's not a small thing like to just share a video. It's actually as tiny as you may think that is. It does help. So you can you know what I mean, remix, repurpose, cut clips. Just imagine everyone just sharing Wu-Sabat all day long. I'm starting to see more and more on the social media. Rahubat TikTok family, I forgot that you're there, Rahubat, and welcome too. You know, we're always happy to have you on board. Yeah, so before we get into the questions, I just want to, sometimes we have to go back to basics, as my brother Caffrey always says, you know, like, why are we here? Why are we on this channel right now? Why are we tuning in? Why are we on the planet? You know, what's our purpose? This is where Wu-Sabat gives you all those answers so that we can change the planet for a much better place and prepare for your journey to the next level of your existence. You know, it doesn't end here on this planet. So you have to know where you've come from, where you are, why you're here, and where you're going. And I'm not just talking about your physical. You see, you've got to think about the different parts of you that exist, you know. So yeah, you can do a lot by just liking, sharing, subscribing. Most of all, hit that notification bell so that we can keep you updated on everything going on. I'm sure you guys have been seeing the trailer coming up, that 12/12/2025. Make sure you've got your seat, you know, ready for that premiere. So yeah, you can get a notification for that too. All right, let's get into it for today. What's the questions for today? Become a channel member. Remember that. That really gives you everything first. Oh yeah, let me clarify that, because some people, like, they don't really get how it all works. The members, right, they are loyal and they are die hard. Like, they have to get something for that loyalty, so they get everything first. Everybody else gets it as well, but just maybe a little bit later, but they get that first. But we have been putting out this knowledge for free. It's for everyone. Yeah, but the members, they're really supporting and they help us to build and do some of the things we're doing in the background to bring even more content to you, you know, to bring it in a way that is even more digestible and able to reach everyone, from the children all the way to the elders. So they're supporting us. So if you would like to support us, become a member of the channel. All right. Okay, let's see. We got yeah, Jeremiah, I think I spoke with you about the premium subscription on DS4S. We're gonna definitely take care of that. I'll get him back. I'll get in touch with you tomorrow or definitely before Thursday. All right, so we can sort that out because I see you're saying, can you help with the issue? Definitely, my brother. All right, let's keep going. Right, so okay, Jeremiah again. Satot kador antak nasur anuki rakoi lakei natuk pa lahag. Yeah, the language app will really bridge the gap in forming sentences. True, that's how I use it. You know, sometimes you're trying to formulate a sentence and you just need that one word to complete the sentence, and you're like, what's the word for this word? And then you go on the language dictionary app and you find the word, and then your sentences are complete. Sometimes you have to think in Misbatia, not in English, because sometimes you can't make that sentence up with English words. So for example, the term by way of, you see? So instead of, so you say like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but you would say, for example, I give gratitude by way of Panatharu. Because some words, you know, like words like but in English, these are words that they're negative. So it's like you might say, Anuki Nadum, or you say, I am sorry. Then you hear but, the but just negates what you just said, because it's like you're adding a condition to saying, I am sorry, Anuki Nadum. So in Miss Matia, those types of words like but, or words that don't make sense, like you wouldn't say have. I mean, you can transliterate like word for word, but the sentence, for it to make more sense, you wouldn't, for example, in English you say have a nice day, okay? A day is not something that you can give away. I hope you're following me. So I can't give you a day, like have this cup or have this telephone. You can't say have a nice day, because I can't give you a day, you know. So you'd say, you might figure out another way of saying it, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example on my feet, but I guess you get the message or the point I'm making. But the app does definitely help you with that. All right, for those who don't know what we're talking about, go to ds4s.net, scroll to the bottom and you will see the app, and you have the free version that you can use to find words. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so Amun, that's the first question. Rahobat family, I have a question about the actual fact books and also Par Tarak. Do you have knowledge if the books are written by Doc solely, or his teachings compiled by another? Yeah, I'm gonna address that. The simple answer is yes, he authored them, but a lot of people have these Chinese whispers that they hear from other people, and they say things like, because the master has been incarcerated or, you know, kidnapped, and from that moment on, you hear people say, the Pataraks are not from the master teacher, or the actual facts are not from the master teacher, and these types of things. Now, it's been over 22 years, so I'm sure you must know that this question has come up and has been addressed several times, and the master had to even deal with it himself to put it to rest. But what I do want to say is this. See, the master teacher teaches us to be able to use our own minds and discernment and to break things down. He wants us to be a part of the learning process. You're not supposed to just like read the information and just regurgitate it. You're supposed to make it become a part of you so that you break it down. Like when you're reading something, you have to check things out. That's why he always said, check it out. So that if there is a mistake, it could just be a typographical error or grammatical error, not the information itself, right? And if you don't pick that up, that means you're just a believer. You're just believing everything that is written and you're not getting involved and checking things out. And that's what makes you that God that we all like to say we are, gods and goddesses, right? You have to be able to make it a part of you. I'm saying all that to say this. The people that are saying these things like, oh, did the master write these books since he's incarcerated, or you don't feel like the actual facts are from him, or the Pataraks or master secrets or whatever. I ask you this question, listen carefully. Before the master went inside, or before he was incarcerated unlawfully, how did you know that he wrote the books prior to 2002? How did you know? Because it's the same process. You got the books, you read them, and you accepted them. But were you actually there to witness and watch him write it and type it, and how the process of producing the scrolls? Were you there to watch that? And when you ask people that, I'm talking from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, don't get me wrong, there are some people who know the process and they were there or they're involved, like the sisters in the office and the people that helped in terms of proofreading, in terms of adding images or whatever that he, needs to finish the process of the book. So there were people that witnessed that, but I'm saying average person around the world who was reading those books, you didn't have this, or is this coming from the master teacher? You accepted it. Just because he's incarcerated doesn't make it any different. Now, I've got several points on this because I want to put this to bed once and for all for people that are spreading this or getting other people to fall into these Chinese whispers, right? If you did read those books back then, you should know the master's tone, right? The vibration, the energy that you get from when you read the scrolls. And it's like you becoming so close to your brethren, your friend, like your sister or someone that you're really close. You know them, you know how they speak, you know their tone, you know their vibration, you know how they will maybe put something. So if you know the master's tone, regardless of whether you know that he or you saw him write it, you will know his tone. In addition to that, the information stands for itself, and there's information that he has put out that nobody else has been able to put out. So I'm saying all this to say, and another point, when artists say, I don't know, whatever your favorite artist that has passed, like Prince or Tupac or whoever else that is not Michael Jackson, that's no longer here. You know them, you know their music, you know their style. And when they're gone, all of a sudden, there's all this music coming out from them, okay? And people are like, oh, Tupac's got a new song out. Or Biggie or whoever, right? How do you think that's possible? One, they have many, many recordings that have not yet been published. Sometimes when artists write and work on an album, they may record like 30 or 40 songs, and then they pick from those songs the ones that make the album. The rest are in archive, or they're stored, or they may not be released at all. This is your catalog. And the master teacher, all he did was write continuously. So there is information that was written prior to his incarceration that was then released afterwards, all right? And I'm just saying this to say that there are many ways of how people in jail, R. Kelly's got songs out. I mean, now you've got AI that's putting out material on behalf of other people, but we're saying that it's not spooky as you think. So there are things that he released afterwards. When he was even incarcerated, before the trial and everything, he was writing to people, write letters, he wrote whole books. And then for those who know, the office will then compile the books by adding, you know, references, images. These are the things that if he writes and quotes something, somebody might go and look up the quote and add it in. Find an image, add it in that relates to the topic. You see, so, but to answer the question, finally, he addressed this question himself on a recording. This is why we say to people, come close, be a part of the family. We don't say these things just for the sake of it, because we know when you're on the outside looking in, things may look different than when you're on the inside looking out, because a question was put to him and he addressed it and he said yes, and he explained it clearly that he's the one that authors them. So yeah, this is something that for newcomers or people that may not be aware, they might be bamboozled by that. Got another caller, so we're going to move on to the second call. Rahubat, greetings caller. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
My name is Kerith Muir from Jamaica.
Greetings, Rahubat.
Greetings. My question is, so I asked you, like, hold on. Okay, so my question is, in the 1930s, people had a certain brain volume that they said was normal for its time. And by the time it reached that was in the 1930s, but by the time it reached the 1970s, they say that people were born with larger brain volumes that increased by 6.6%. So does it make sense to assume that it's possible that that could be a DNA upgrade from extraterrestrials?
It's not an assumption. The thing is that nowadays there's a lot of scientific uncoverings. I was just looking for a scroll that we have. Yeah, actually I left it next door. The designer genes, yeah? Where what the master is showing you, remember that they've been digging up fossils and taking, you know, skeletons and looking at brain sizes and all these kind of things for a very long time. It's not so much the size of the cranium or the brain, it's more about the activation of the parts of the brain that you can use or not use, or utilize or not utilize. So you know that when you say extraterrestrials, Pana Babyanun is an extraterrestrial, and by you absorbing and learning this information, what it does is it activates different parts of your brain that have not been utilized for a long time. It's almost like people go to the gym and they want to make, for example, make their biceps or certain muscles bigger and stronger. So they're gonna push weights to kind of grow that muscle. It's the same with your brain, with your brain in terms of exercising it, to be able to use more of it, meaning like the way the brain works is by sending messages along pathways, right? So it's based on neurons, and we will refer to this as neuron pathways, yeah? Meaning that you're opening more and more gateways for information to be received. It's like the term bus, right? When I say bus, I don't mean a vehicle. I'm saying if you look at a computer system and you were to look at what we call the motherboard, you will have what we call buses or lanes that information and transistors, they send in signals and messages through. Okay, let me make it simple. It's like a motorway, right, where you have lanes. And in the UK, for example, compared to the USA, what we call the motorway, they obviously call the highways, right? You may have 3 lanes, right? But in certain parts of America, or even some parts in the UK now, you can have like 6 lanes on one side, you know, because obviously traffic goes in both directions. The same way as when I'm talking about the buses on a computer system, you're sending information, but the more bandwidth you have, the more information you can send down that road, for example. So if you had one lane, the traffic would be jammed, because everybody would wait. If there's something at the front, like an accident or whatever, you only have one lane. But if you have 6 lanes, you're moving the traffic much quicker. So the same way with your brain, you have these pathways where neurons are communicating, between the synapses. And then what happens is that if you haven't been using a part of your brain, because the brain has been studied to the point where they map every reaction at something you do to which part of your brain, they can actually put colors and lights to say, if you're if you're using your brain for arithmetic or doing maths, they can monitor and see which part of your brain is doing that. So with more information that you've never come across, it opens up more and more ability or access for you to receive more. So it's not something that you can do all at once, because you can actually overload or damage your brain. So this is why there's a process of, it's like a child. You can't feed a child solid food immediately when they're born, when they're not ready for that. So you have to give them, baby food, then they grow teeth, and then you can start to give them, more solids. It's the same with your brain. Like the amount of information, he started writing the small scrolls, and then when people started to read, because most people weren't reading, okay, so then you had to learn to start reading, and then when you started to read, you started to open up, more access to your brain capacity or power. So now we're living in what people know since the year 2000 as the information age, and a lot of people are overloaded with information, and a lot of it is it's not useful information. So they store too much junk, or they have what people refer to as junk DNA. All right, the scientists in the kind of mainstream will say junk DNA because they don't really know how to access it or what it does. So the more you exercise your brain by studying, by reading, by analyzing, that's what I was saying at the beginning, by being a part of the learning process, by reasoning. You don't just read things and just read it for the sake of it. You analyze and you try to reason it out till it makes sense. So yes, to answer your question, he is an extraterrestrial, and with more information and more technology and more knowledge that you're now able to absorb, your brain is actually developing. And that's the point, to get to a point where eventually you will start to use more than 10% of it. And they actually showed you this in a movie called Lucy, where the more intelligent she got, and another movie called Limitless, the more they use their brain.
I know those 2 movies.
Yes, it shows you how the brain capacity was then being more and more utilized. It's not like your head was getting any bigger. It's just you're now accessing more of your brain than the 10 or less % that most people are currently doing.
So you mean, to answer my question, the answer is yes.
Yes.
Extraterrestrials are giving us a DNA upgrade. That's why our brain volume has increased.
Not all extraterrestrials. This is what I'm saying. Some extraterrestrials are dumbing you down because they're hiding information from you, and they are making you use computers and AI and other things without you being a part of the process. So, for example, when we were in school, right, we used to do arithmetic without calculators, you see. And over time, the generations afterwards, they were allowed, you couldn't use a calculator for your exam and things like that in maths. But as time went on, they introduced computers and these calculators, and children and people stop using their mind and their brain. So these extraterrestrials, that some technology that's been introduced, it's not it's designed for you to, if you don't have control over it, it takes control over you. That's what I mean by you have to be in control or be actively involved with it. So like those calculators have evolved to like tablets, to smartphones, and now AI. People that are smart, they still use their discernment in situations where you're utilizing technologies. For example, a sat nav, that's technology, right? Because they're using satellites to help you navigate to find your way to where you're going. But would you just sit in the car and allow the sat nav to malfunction and take you and over, do you know what I mean, over a cliff? That's not using your sense in a way that you're actively involved. So even though you know where it's going, you're watching the graphic that shows you where you're going, and it shows you you're going to go off a cliff, and you still sit there and allow it to do it. It's like I don't understand. Sometimes people don't use their own powers and abilities. They just let technology override everything. It's like you want to cross the road, right? You have the traffic lights and cars are coming from both directions. You wait for at the pedestrian crossing, then the little green man comes on for you to cross the road. Are you telling me that if that malfunctioned and you were waiting to cross the road, no cars are coming, you're gonna wait there for, let's say, half an hour, and don't cross the road because you're waiting for the green man, even though there aren't any cars coming for over? That's showing you that that's not someone that is utilizing their brain power or capacity. So what I'm saying is, all technology is not good for you, and some technology you have to utilize it. Don't say I've got a smartphone, so now I'm not going to be smart. That's not being smart. Yeah, because the phone is smart doesn't mean you should stop being smart. And some people allow the phone to become smarter than them because they completely rely on the smartphone. It's the same thing now with AI. People should learn to use AI to the point where they are giving the AI the prompts to deliver what they want, not allowing the AI to just do everything for them. I hope you're following my point.
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Right.
But
so
something else I want to know, like, so the study, it showed that they did the study on Caucasians. So they said that a lot of Caucasians, they were born with a larger brain volume in the 1970s and onwards. So that shows that these upgrades aren't only for Negroid people. DNA upgrades from extraterrestrials, well, certain extraterrestrials are for Caucasians as well, and other groups of people.
That's misinformation. This is what I'm saying. Like, you say they say. You know me. I always ask you who's the they say, because when people say they say, they're basically accepting whatever reports or research or something that somebody says as if it's completely true and factual, when we know that misinformation or the dissemination of incorrect or wrong information is part of the plot. So I know that the study you're referring to, and I think I'm trying to find if it's in this scroll where the master teacher explains and breaks down. I don't think it's this one, but he breaks down. I'm going to look through to see if I can find. He breaks down.
I think it starts with an F, the Framingham study.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Just because they say so doesn't mean it's accurate and true. And it's let me see if I can find it, because the master broke it down in the scroll, explaining. Oh, here you go. This is the scroll I'm looking for. This scroll is called The Designer Genes. Yeah? And I'm gonna, if you haven't got hold of this, you should, because it explains, just see, I'm trying to find which part I want to read from. Okay, listen to this. Right, this is the master secret, and it's called the designer genes. All right, pa rasam ur yakhasat. 1. And this talks about the DAF 1220, right? 1220 pa rasam ur yakhas kawun DAF 1220. The designer gene is DAF 1220. 2. DAF 1220 is the mystery of primate brain expansion, right? This is what you're talking about. 3. The Muthathalu extraterrestrials use it to make a kind of man in their own Shaba image, like them, yet who would never mentally grow, right, older than Pa Akal, the mind of a 13-year-old. Yeah? So this is what the master is explaining, that these extraterrestrials, they're using the DAF 1220, right, to make a kind of man that was in their own image and like them, yet he would never mentally grow older than the mind of a 13-year-old. So let's carry on. 4. The smartest of the Kuradu simians only have Pa Akal, the mind of a 3 to 6-year-old. 5. The simian or monkeys have 48 chromosomes. That 48 chromosomes is equal to the planet, Project Sector 24, or 24 plus 24, 48. 6. So 24 plus 24 equals 48 chromosomes of the simians grown on this Mikab planet, who become the ape man, chimpanzee, and others. 7. It was to control Pa Dama, the brain, to make this new kind of Zazaz, man, a primitive worker as a chimpanzee and can use tool. 8. Once the Muthathalu extraterrestrials mixed their own 46 chromosomes to match the new axis of the Pa Mikab, the planet 23 degrees, you had 23 plus 23 equals 46 chromosomes. 9. And the outcome of the simians, 48, and Pa Mukma'u, the Pleiadians, right, these are the extraterrestrials we're talking about, 46. With the Anunnaki's 47 chromosomes was a savant person with the mind of all three and often on developed physical actions. 10. The mind of the simian is a 3 to 6 year old Pa Akal, the mind of the Pleiadian, a wicked evil, yeah, Muthathalu extraterrestrial. 11. The result was a Rasamur Yakhas designer gene called now DAF 1220. Now that they have knowledge of genomes, right, and on this second page, I'm going to show you, I don't know if you picked that up, but this is the diagram showing you the different sizes of skulls, okay, that were found. And I carry on. Known Earth names, naming each of the Yakasa genes of the genome, and the helix naming things able to speak. 12. There is a misconception. This is the bit I was telling you about. There is a misconception that the larger the brain, the higher the intelligence, which actually is incorrect. All right? And it shows you the various sizes craniums that have been uncovered. 13. The higher intelligence is dependent upon the increased number of neurons. This is what I was saying to you, in the Dhamma brain. 14. For example, primates have more neurons than non-primates. 15. The DAF 1220 domain is made up of 65 amino acids and is located in a certain part of the first chromosome. This encoding was found in most duplicated in 140 genes showing human lineage specific, that's HLS, gain or loss. And this next diagram here goes into showing you the different, types of beings like mammals and sort of birds, etc., rabbits, rodents, the orangutan, and then the human, the chimpanzee, again, Just put that so you can look at it. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to read the whole scroll, but I'll carry on for a little bit more, where it shows you that yet the number of changes in copy and most extreme were found to be due to sequences encoding the DAF 1220. There are many more copies of DAF 1220 encoded in the human genome compared to the genome of any other Sanafu species. 19. Humans have approximately 270 copies, much more than the great apes, who have between 90 to 120 copies. Monkeys have 25 to 40 copies, and especially prosimians and non-primate mammals. 20. Approximately 160 copies of the DAF 1220 were added specifically to the human genome approximately 5 to 6 million years ago. This expansion relates to an average of 28 copies added specifically to the human genome every million years since this time. Yeah, so, I mean, you have to read the whole of this scroll to understand that, yeah, this is by design in terms of what extraterrestrials were doing to keep certain beings, especially the Adamite race. That's what I'm saying to you. So when they're saying these things, right, the Adamite race, it was programmed that they will never get older than a 13-year-old, yeah, compared to other races. And yeah, so read the whole of this, because I know there are many people waiting with questions, and you've been on for a while, so that goes into it in more detail in terms of, that's why we say to you, when you say planet, you're literally saying plan, ET, which is an extraterrestrial plan, and their involvement in, you know, what they've done in terms of manipulating DNA and the genes of the beings on the planet. So when you look at everyone, not everyone is the same, even though you may look, you know, the same, you're not actually the same genetically. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm understanding you loud and clear.
Good. All right. So is there any other questions before we move on to someone else, or was that it?
No, that's it. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Okay, everyone, remember to hit that like, okay, that like button so that we can, yeah, get the algorithm to work for us. All right, so going back to where I was before we had the call, before we had the live call. Yeah, I think it was Amun. I was just answering Amun's question. Yeah, I think we covered that, by how the books are written. And yeah, the master teacher definitely is the sole writer. But when you say writer or author, it's like, even though you author something or a book, sometimes you have to send it off, or you have to get an illustrator. And again, it's a good exercise for anyone who's ever published a book, because of what you go through, the learning process of what's involved in, and you know, obviously there are different types of books, different lengths, different subject matters. But yeah, the whole process is like, sometimes you get illustrators to do the drawings or whatever, or you add references, and you quote different things. So in terms of the author, yes, he's the author, but compiling it and sending it to a printer to then do what they do to print and cover and bind and all of that. So yes, he's the author, but then he has other people to help compile or put things together. All right. Okay. Next question was from Kifa Bina 6445. Rahubat Zaman Wu-Nuwapu. My question is Tawkum. I received a confirmation from my transition mother on the other side that she said she hear you and we are here to help. Just ask for assistance if needed. Yeah, I'm telling you, we've been telling people this. Wu-Sabat is real. What we teach is real, because it's coming from the Pa Natharu, from the higher realms. And one has come here, incarnated here, slowed down their vibration to be born here, to come and give us and share with us information that we would never know. And you have the ability to contact your Moisar, your family on the other side as well. And you carry on and you say, and I've been following the right guidance in the Pataruk and from you all students, teachers, and aligning my each spiritual bodies, and I have been receiving messages from Partner Babyanun. There you go. Zanuko? Okay, so yeah, Wu-Sabat will work for you if you allow it to, if you resonate with it and you let it do its thing through you, and you can also be a part of the process. Zamal, it is very real. Some just don't know. Tawutak Zamal again. Very real, very real. And those who do and have the experience, they know, they will tell you. Okay, Karadu Panathro 99. Rahubat Musa, Nafir Masut, 15, Samuel Zamal, okay, Ashok family. Okay, beautiful, thank you, Tawat. Yeah, I have to take a moment to tell you, look, hear no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, and see no evil. The interview that is going to change the world. Make sure you got your seat. Get that notification. All right, so if you haven't seen the trailer, just check it out. All right, Maria, Rahubat Saken, I've finally given up coffee, tea, chocolate, and meat. Wow, well done. All at once. It was a very tough battle with my taste buds. I'm working on sugar and salt now. Thanks for your tip on healthy substitutes. Oh man, that's fantastic to hear. We all work in progress, and it's good when we hear people say, you know, that. Now the thing is, just for people, when we say give up coffee, teas, and chocolate, stuff like that, yeah, there are substitutes. And when we say tea, you can still have herbal teas and natural teas. Like I said, I'm drinking some elderberry tea right now because it's good for the immune system. And when we say chocolate, there's also like alternative, the actual cocoa, or even like, you know, what we're talking about is don't have things that have intoxicants, or, you know, like caffeine and things that it may feel good now, but over long periods of time of taking caffeine, it affects your nervous system. Your nervous system is one of the most important systems you have, because it's what helps you to pick up the very subtle nuances of higher vibrations. So you don't want things that would agitate your mind. And yes, meat, definitely. Man, I saw some videos on social media blatantly showing you how human meat is becoming more and more something that's being discovered. I think there was even something with a popular brand that is being now investigated for human meat being found in their products. So yeah, meat is not really something we should really be doing, especially the red meat. Well, really, literally any meat. But well done, Maria. Yeah, nothing that is worth anything comes easy. You gotta work at it. Yeah, and the thing is, you said the battle with your taste buds, and that's true, because a lot of people eat things for taste and not for nutrition, because we've been trained that way to something taste like salt and sugar and, you know, sweet things. We're so used to that, so it's not an easy battle. Your mouth in general is one of the most, in fact, if not the most, house for housing bacteria and, you know, easily to get infected. Yeah. So even sugar, you know, you can have natural sugars, And if you're gonna, the salt, you can obviously get the best of salt, so you don't go straight. The processed stuff is what you gotta avoid, man. And yeah, if you can get natural substitute. There's fruit that has sugar, you know, natural sugars. All right, cool. Let's go on. I appreciate love the language app. I can learn words that I think and speak all in real time. Very easy access. Yeah, thank you. I mean, you know, these are the things we're working on in the background. In fact, it's a full-on app. If you may not have noticed, right, in the app, if you just put, like, say, the letter A and scroll down, you see words that have a little speaker next to them where you can click on it and hear the word as well, the tones. And there's a section for the actual script. But these are all things that we're working on to improve it. And the premium version is supposed to be able to give you a lot more of that. So look at it like, yeah, it's phases. We're phasing in different, more and more functionality. But I appreciate, love you for that comment. The power in the tones. The power, this is from Kilfat Bina 6445. The power is in the tones, the lahaj, yes, the chants and prayers, right mental factual diet and healthy emotional control. Wu-Sabat, yeah, it's the balance. It's the balance of all these things. Like, you've got to balance everything, and it's not just one thing or the other. You've got to have that balance, you know, across the board on all the things we say to do. Question from Maria again. If I on a live before learning 720 degree knowledge, will I be stuck, be able to help my ancestors get unstuck, free them from captivity by disagreeables? Okay, this, when we say 720 degrees, right, we're trying to, with a lot of the information, remember, it's outformation. But for us to comprehend it, the master has to bring it down into information so that it's digestible. And as a student, when we study, or when I study, I then also try to put it in a way that I first of all get it, so it's clear for me. And then if it's clear for me, I can explain it to other people, because if I can't explain it, if it's not clear to me, I can't then explain it to somebody else. So what I'm saying is, when you say 720 degrees, what we're trying to convey is that if you looked at, because in this world, the 3D world, the things you see are based on illusions, right? So you're not really sure that what you're seeing is what you're seeing, because first of all, things are not solid, but they look solid, right? They're literally held together by vibrational frequencies and by the way that atoms are held together, which is a whole different topic. But I'm saying that to say, because you can't, I'll give you an example. You look at a square, right? And we've broken this many times before. A square looks completely different to a circle. But a square, if you just looked at it, you're just seeing a box. But because we know about science and vibration and frequency, that square, although you're just seeing that, it's a vibration that exists on different realms. One of the scientific ways for us to discern and learn about our environment is mathematics, okay? Because math is kind of a higher level of, it's not really based on opinions, it's based on science. So if you say 1 + 1, pretty much everybody's going to give you the answer 2, and we're all in agreement, and it will be pretty much no disagreements, no divisions. Now, some people might try and be smart and say it's 11. Now, I didn't say 1 and 1, because you could be clever and say I put a 1 and another 1 together. So instead of 1 + 1 is 2, someone's going to try and be slick and say it's 11. But mathematically, if you were to break down the square, you're going to say, you know, you can break it down in many ways, but you go, okay, it's got 4 right angles, yeah, which give you what? 360 degrees. And you look at a circle, and again, it's equal mathematically to 360 degrees. But they look completely different, right? Now, if we take the square and say, that's just one side you're looking at, okay? Or shall I say one face? Because, you know, in maths you can say sides and face and, you know, angles, etc., because you can break it down. But that's just one view. Now, take a cube, right? A cube has what? Six faces. Because you got, let's say, this one, the one at the back, top and bottom, left and right, right? So that gives you, now imagine that face is now at the top, at the bottom, at the side. So it becomes a cube. So now, if the square was 360 degrees, how many degrees is going to be in a cube? If you multiply 360 by the 6, you get like what, 2,160? Check me out if my maths is correct, right? But that's now giving you one cube. If you put a circle inside of each face of that cube, so now you got, instead of the 360 degrees, you have another 360 degrees, that's the circle and the square together, gives you 720 degrees, coming to your question. So we're saying the circle represents, so yeah, if we added all that up now, the cube with all the circles and each one of the faces, I think it's going to be like 4,230, okay? And I'm saying, look how we've built up from, if you took the half of the square or half of the circle, you're going to have, what, 180 degrees. The full thing gives you 360 degrees. Remember, I started with 90 degrees. I hope you guys are following me, right? 90 degrees, and we went to 360 degrees, and then we've gone to 720 degrees, where we're saying the circle represents completion, or all the information in the spiritual realm or in another dimension, right? Another realm. And then the square represents the physical world, right? So the two together, because you can't have the physical you without the, what people call the spiritual you. So the two of them together gives you what we said, 720 degrees. Coincidentally, you add all that up, you're going to get 9, because this is the science of wu-nuwapu or Wu-Sabat, which is 9 ether, 9 mind, 9 thinking, 9 being the highest number. And if you added the 720, you get 9. If you then added what I said before, which was the, you know, the circle by itself with the different sides, you're going to get 2,160. Can you check that for me, please? So that would be 360 times 6. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not...
2160.
Yeah, right, so I was right. 2,160, I think I said that, yeah. So now, if you then add those numbers up, you get 9. Even when you do what I said, which is do the same with the circle and the square, and you get 4,230, it's the same thing. You add the 4 plus the 2 plus the 3, you get 9. See, Wu-Sabat, science of the 9. So I know I've gone a long way around to explain this, but what we're saying is you're really limitless, and these, like 360 physical, 360 spiritual, you never know how far you have attained. So the best thing is to do your best, keep studying, and it's not you that will decide, oh, I'm now, it's like you don't have to wait to say, I've learned all 720 degrees knowledge before you will make it. You're judged based on where you are at the time, and it's not just, it's just a guideline in terms of how much, because now we go all the way to 76 trillion years of knowledge. Like, Do you know what I mean? So you're not the one to kind of like decide, oh, I have to, because what people do is they want to wait till they're perfect before they start doing anything, or I've got to stop doing all these things. No, you are who you are. You're living every day. The time is now. You can apply Wu-Sabat today. You can read one book and start living and applying Wu-Sabat. And it's all about your intentions as well. It's about your heart. It's about, you know, really, are you really true to this? Are you sincere? Do you want to help people? Do you want to be doing your best on the side of positivity, etc.? So yeah, I'm just saying that to say you won't be stuck, and you don't know how far you are, and just keep going. And yes, you will be able to help your ancestors on the other side, and they will help you too. So it's a two-way thing, okay? And again, you're saying it as if you're for sure that they have been they're captive on the other side. Some beings just don't want to come down back in vibration. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to run through these now quite quickly because I do spend time on some questions just to give as much clarity as I can. Is there anything on TikTok, by the way? All right, cool. You're still with us. Stay with us, TikTok family. All right, let's keep going. Right, so question. Can my ancestors help me now and in the other realms if they unalived with no knowledge? Yes, they can. With no knowledge of the master teacher's teachings. Yes, because as I said, it's not just based on knowledge. It's because many people can have knowledge, but they don't apply it. You know, so it's about the application of that knowledge and the intentions, as I've just mentioned. And yes, remember, you have agreeable and disagreeable ancestors. So the agreeable ones are always there and have been there perhaps throughout your life and have been helping you. It's a matter of tuning yourself more to their vibration, to their frequency, to their voices, and silencing the ones that are disagreeable. But yes, they can definitely help you. Pharaoh, Rahubat Zamal, if one saves a creature that's becoming extinct, is one going against nature? Yes, that because natural nature has to do what it has to do to evolve and to progress and to bring about changes. It's like the ancestors, or our ancestors more specifically, Pa-Natharu, they're the most intelligent beings. There's a chain reaction of things. They know what they're doing. So even to the human who might look at something and go, that doesn't make sense, it's part of the plan, it's part of the design. So yes, if something is to become extinct and you try to prolong it, you're just delaying the inevitable, but it will eventually happen. They tried that with like polar bears and, you know, many things that were supposed to be extinct, and mankind tries to stop it from happening, but they realize that they can't defy nature. Okay, let's keep going. Yellow woman, Rahbat, the other day I asked about the Lacerta files, but you didn't know about it. It's supposed to be the interview of a real reptilian woman telling it as it is. Plenty of videos on YouTube. Is it real? This is what I'm saying. Like, we can't really speak on or talk about what other people are saying. There are many reptilians on the planet, so we are part of the reptilians as well. There's just different types of reptilians when you say reptilians. Most people are talking about the disagreeable beings that are here causing a lot of the chaos and havoc and so forth, right? So yeah, you really don't know. I mean, because Partner Babyanun has not mentioned it, but there are many videos and footage on YouTube and many interviews that are on YouTube or different social media that are real. And there's there's real footage of beings that land and come out of craft, and people have caught them on tape. So we know there are extraterrestrials on the planet. We've mentioned Shambhala and Agatha, where many species of beings. So when you say it, I mean, because I'm not familiar with it. We're not the ones, as in, it's not coming from us. We're not putting that information out. I will only literally be giving my opinion and speculating without, any confirmation from the master teacher who does know. So, I did last time. I did look at it quickly just to see what it was, but I didn't actually go and watch the video on YouTube. So now you brought it up a second time. I will definitely have a look at it. But the point is, what if it is real? What if it isn't? What difference does it make? Because I'm saying that because people will say, like, okay, is it real? And if it is, then what? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's good to know things just for the sake of knowing, but, I can go back to videos that David Icke put out years ago with people talking about actually being in the presence and seeing, certain people shapeshift and take on their reptilian form. We've seen many clips on, YouTube with people's eyes changing to the lizard eyes, or they're morphing. A lot of these beings, they take on a human form, or they shapeshift, and sometimes they need certain things to keep them in that form for long periods of time. Like, maybe the sacrifices, or drinking of blood, or taking certain, certain things. And when they no longer have access to that, or they're not able to hold that form anymore, they just take them out of circulation, or you don't see them anymore. So they could stage a death or whatever, and they're now just hidden. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing spooky or like impossible for reptilians to speak. But I need to hear what the content is, what they're actually saying. If the question you're asking me is what they're saying or relaying true, then I have to go and listen to it and see, because it may be, it may not be. All right, but let me check it out, and next week I would have listened to it. But like I said, we're not really here to defend or confirm other people's teachings or information that they're putting out. Okay, let's keep going. Cover that. Okay, next question. Remember, you can call in live as well. If you're calling from outside the UK, then the number is +44 753 996 3882. I repeat, +44 753 996 3882. Okay, another question. I would like to know, as God, as we know, knew it does not exist, how is it exorcism heal certain people as priests pray to God while doing them? How does it work? Thank you. No, listen, we don't say God does not exist. What it is the term God has been misused and misplaced and distorted in so many ways, because there are different types of gods. And what are you referring to when you say God? Because people have been given the wrong information when they're taught by way of religions or monotheistic religions. Like, they give you a picture of, not a literal picture, but like they paint this thing about this being called God that is in heaven, sits on a throne, he knows everything, he's everywhere at the same time, and he can do anything, can click his fingers and make things happen, and he just says things and they are, and there's a lot of wrong information. So it's when you say God, who, which type of God are we talking about? Because in the Hebrew, in the Greek, in the Latin, in any of the languages that's being translated into English, it's giving you names of these beings. They're actually different extraterrestrials. So if you just start thinking of gods and angels as extraterrestrials, different types, different species, different families that are doing things, they're just more advanced in certain aspects than we are, right? So when you say we know it doesn't exist, gods do exist, but there are different types of gods. There's evil gods, or what you call disagreeable beings, and there's good ones. You got Elohim, you got Yahweh, you got Adonai, you got El Shaddai. There's just different terms and names that are being translated as God, you see? And you're just reading and thinking, oh, this God is the Heavenly Father, he knows everything. Do you know what I mean? Anunnaki beings, you have the beings from the different like galaxies, constellations. This is who you're calling God. So some of them will heal you and give you the ability to heal, because they can utilize your physical body. So when you're saying these priests are praying and all of that, yeah, some of them are given, it tells you in the books, the Bible, in Matthew, that, you know, people perform wonders and miracles and stuff like that because they're being assisted by these extraterrestrials. Some of us are naturally healers, because you mentioned healing, right? So people like who have warm hands, or they're hot, right? They're generally very hot healers, yeah? Because why? Because when you feel heat, you're dealing with electricity and frequency. So you can use sound and you can use heat to heal, and it's about channeling that energy. So it's no coincidence that some of them will use it in a way to convince the congregation or people to feed these same extraterrestrial gods. When you say how does it work, that's how it works. They give you the power to convince other people, but ultimately they have a motive, they have an agenda. They want to take your soul and they want something in return. They're not just doing these things for the sake of it. The disagreeable side, the agreeable side, such as us, we have powers and abilities. When I say us of the ones that are using it in a positive, agreeable way to heal, to help, to, you know what I mean, use the green light to heal. We've explained about the green light of Melchizedek, or the angel people know in the Bible as Michael, we know as Partner Babyanun. He's the being over that realm, over that green light, you see. So, yeah, it all depends on who's doing it, why, and for what reason. All right. Exorcism, that just means to exercise, to deal with that disagreeable spiritual aspect of you. Like you go to the gym for the exercise, for the physical you, yeah, to get healthy, to be, you know what I mean, more fit, etc. You do that on the spiritual side to get rid of demonic spirits, to get rid of beings that are attached to you, that are causing you to be able to not stop certain vices or give up certain disagreeable things. All right. Hope that's clear. Let's keep going. Gear Rawlings. Did the extraterrestrials who put the vocal box in the female accomplish what they wanted to accomplish? What exactly did they want to accomplish? Which scroll can I read on this topic? That same scroll I was reading, I think, let me just double check, goes into it. But yeah, let me answer the first part of the, in fact, there's a Patarak that goes into it. I'm pretty sure this goes, yeah. Yep, it's in here. It's also in a number of other scrolls. Yeah, it's in here. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, there's a part of that called speaking of tongues that goes into it as well. Just trying to see where in this. I'll have to check and see if I've got that other part of that. But anyway, let me answer the rest of the question until I find that part. Yeah, it's also in the language scroll. I think the ancient signs of speech. But let me answer the other parts of the question. So the question is, did the extraterrestrials who put the vocal box in the female accomplish what? Yeah, because this is how we are able to communicate now. And that was, because remember that when you were brought down here, the abilities you had on the higher levels, like telepathy, was no longer active as it's supposed to be. So in order for when we weren't able to communicate mind to mind without words anymore, so we do it randomly now. Like sometimes it kicks in, but you were able to do that at will and all the time, and you had control over it. It's not like you just hear a million voices, or you're communicating and everybody can hear you. It's like with these things, there are abilities you have to be taught how to channel to the person you want to communicate with mind to mind, and it's just it's like you open a communication channel between you two and that's it, and you're not able to hear other people, or maybe you can have multiple, like when you're on a phone, you can speak one-to-one with somebody, or you can bring somebody else onto the line, or you can have a three-way conversation or four-way conversation. It's like that, but mentally, using telepathy. So that's why when you weren't able to do that anymore, you had to start communicating, and it started off originally with sound, tones, vibrations, and frequencies. Then those sounds became pictures to try and say it without talking. So you would see a picture, let's say you saw a picture of somebody with a rod and a fish on the end of it. It's kind of teaching you, look at it for a while and you'll figure it out, like, I have this thing to catch the fish. But then eventually those pictorial diagrams became pictures that we call letters today of the alphabet, you see. And then the alphabet then meant that you could arrange them in certain ways to then describe what you're trying to say. So it was a matter of developing it over time. So yes, it was really for us to be able to communicate. When you say what exactly did they want to accomplish, and which scroll can I read on this topic? Yeah, as I said, without spending time to look for it, it's in those scrolls that I've mentioned. Yeah, join the Telegram group, and we'll post that. I'm sure we've posted them already, but just to save me time, those scrolls will be posted in the Telegram group. If you haven't joined the Telegram group already, do so now, and then we can. There are many other student teachers in the Telegram group that help as well, so all around the different time zones. So it's important that you join the Telegram group, because sometimes another student teacher in your time zone may be awake to answer the question. Go ahead, Zamal.
Greetings, sir. How can I quiet my mind to achieve a state of balance? What should I do? That's from TikTok.
Okay. Yeah, meditation. Meditation is, because you have to realize, well, first of all, read the scroll, The Mind, that we've got. Yeah. You can Google all of these on our site, The Mind, because the mind You have to really fully understand the mechanics of the mind. How does the mind work? And when you know that, then that's what you're literally doing, because your mind governs your actions, some of your actions, because you have voluntary and you have involuntary actions. Yeah, so the involuntary actions are by design, so they happen. Like, you don't know how your heart is, how many times or how your heart is beating, the excuse me, the regulation of the heartbeat, the blood flowing, and certain things that are just happening naturally. Even when you're asleep, your heart's still working, and the digestive system, things are working, which are, whether you did it or not, you know, the liver's there, it's cleaning and filtering out things that are not necessary for it, for the body. So those are your involuntary actions. You're blinking. You blink sometimes, you don't even realize you're blinking, and it's for a reason. Then you have your voluntary actions, the things that you control or that you do. And so when you're saying the mind is the one that governs all these things. So when you learn to work with the mind as a friend, one of the mistakes people do is try to control the mind and try to force it to do things. It's another being within you, so you have to be able to work with it. It's like cooperate with it. And the book, The Mind, teaches you how to silence and filter out white noise or chatter and things that are there to distract you. So meditation is one of the ways. Concentration, we have a part of that called concentration, is one of the ways to work to be able to meditate properly, because concentration, and even with concentration, you start off with relaxation. Yeah, because you have to be relaxed when you're trying to concentrate and when you're trying to then go into the state of meditation. So I'm just flicking through the Pataraks to see if I can find it. I found the one I was looking for before, so I'll come back to that. But yeah, so yeah, and we have this Patarak called the mind's eye, because what you're doing is trying to silence all the noise so that you can focus the energy on the concentrating of the outcome you want to achieve. Yeah, so it starts off with just sitting down and trying to be still, relaxed, and concentrate. You may want to concentrate on, it's in our book as well. We go through this, the fast track, your spiritual and conscious journey. We go through the process in here as well. So if you haven't got this scroll, you should try and get hold of that. Not try, get hold of that. And then you'll be able to concentrate, say, for example, on an object, like a candle light, the tip of the candle light. Focus on one place, get rid of all the distractions. The more you do it, the better you become. And eventually, you start to control your breath. And then you go into different states, alpha wave, etc. And then you literally are here, but you're no longer here, because that energy is going to go to the higher realms to pull that thing you want to manifest and bring it down. I know it may sound crazy to some people, but everything that exists in the physical, if you look at anything around, right, someone had to pull that idea from the mental realm and then bring it to the physical. Initially, it might be to draw it out. Like if you're going to have a car, the car that you see on the road, someone had to design it, and they had to see it in their mind's eye first. They had to see it in their mind's eye, and then they pulled it down. Somebody else may have put that idea in the mental reservoir, and then you pull it down because you're concentrating so hard and making that thing happen that you pull it down. Like an architect. Yeah, an architect does what? They pull the image and they draw it and you call it the architect drawings or plans for, let's say, a house, then they make that real by getting the actual, whether it's the bricks, the glass, the electricians, everybody comes together to bring that to life in the physical. So meditation and concentration are the ways to go to basically control and bring into focus that which you want from the higher realms to the material or physical world. Okay, Yellow Woman. Okay, I've already answered that one. G Rawlins, G Rawlins. Did the extraterrestrial, okay, I covered that already. Second question. If the Wu-Sabat culture admits 3 genders in human beings, men, women, and people who feel estranged to their original gender, can we consider that transgender people are right to get surgery and so on? This is what I'm saying. It's not about us considering, it's what that is a lot of people don't understand or overstand or have the knowledge of what's going on. And we don't admit 3 genders in the sense of, okay, you got different types of beings. When you say gender, the way we think about gender, a lot of the times here people think of gender like using sexual organs. That's what they consider to be gender. Like you have male organs, so you're considered to be male as in gender, and if you have female organs, sexual organs, you're considered to be female. But then you have, if you really start to analyze and study the organs, you have both. Males have what females have and females have what male have genetically to a certain degree. It's just that one doesn't use certain aspects because, for example, the male, the Y is a defected X. So the female has an XX, which is complete. We have an X and then a maimed X, which becomes a Y. So we have XY, or the Y makes the male. So you have other genders that are, instead of just XX and XY, you have XYX, or you have YXY. These are your hermaphrodites and hermaphrodites. Then you have genders that are on a level where they don't have physical genitals or physical organs in the way that we perceive them on this physical realm. So they're still genders that are non-physical in the way we see things in the physical realm, you see. So what we're saying is that the confusion comes in where you may be physically a male in appearance, but will have a female spirit. So the other parts of you are spirit, but they're feminine or female. The same way you may have a female physically looks like what we call a female because of the way they look in appearance, but they also have a male spirit. And when you start to go higher, this is what we call having a double resonance or a double frequency. Right? You can read a lot about this in the Golden Children, part of that, as well as Existence, How and Why. And what we're basically saying is that because of the confusion of the world not teaching or knowing about the fact that, remember, the Western world or the monotheistic religions, they don't really go into detail and break things down. They just see things like black and white based on basic distorted information. So they would have no explanation for certain genders on the planet. And there are beings like, when I say beings, not necessarily humanoid, like, jellyfish and all types of creatures that don't follow or have the same genetic makeup as we do. But what the confusion comes in when someone is physically a male, but they have a female spirit. So how they feel on the inside and everything in terms of how their internal being is female. So even though they're male in appearance, they will say to themselves, everything about me is a female. But we're saying, because they don't understand it, they would then maybe try to change their physical appearance through plastic surgery and so on and so forth to look like a female on the outside so that it matches how they feel and behave on the inside. And that is the same the other way around too, where, you know, you may be, you know, the other way where you're a female, but you have a male spirit and you want to then match your physical with how you feel inside. So you see some people be like, I'm a tomboy, or they're acting like, but then that's not enough. Then it goes further and further. So we're saying, when you say transgender, that's a whole, I mean, that term is used in so many different ways because, yeah, so we don't support the part you're saying, our right to get surgery, because that's, the surgery brings more issues and problems, because in order to maintain that, you have to take so many pills and so many things that it doesn't really change you. You know, you are who you are, you know, so. But again, we're not here to give medical advice or anything like that, so disclaimer. We're just breaking down the knowledge and the information as to why some people, you know, may go and do surgery, etc., because they don't fully understand what's going on spiritually. Now, those beings are designed that way for a reason, because these are the beings that, because they had that double resonance or double frequency, they were able to be used for things like opening gateways and opening portals and things, because when the time comes, they will be required for that. But they may not know that until they learn this information through Wu-Sabat to realize there's nothing wrong with you being who you are, you see. All right, let's move on.
Should Anu or El Elo be worshipped?
No, nothing should be worshipped, because you are the same as Anu. Anu is a person. Yes, he's an Anunnaki, is a much more advanced being in terms of, you know, their development and technology, but so are you. You've just been, you're a little god or maimed, or like you have the potential to be an Anu, you see. So there's not, when people say worship comes from religion, because like there's nothing wrong with giving respect, giving reverence, and, you know, looking to someone that, you know, it's your, you know, like someone that you look up to, like the master teacher. We look up to the master teacher. We give him respect. We give him reverence. But we don't worship him, because it's like you shouldn't bow down or go before anybody else or other than yourself, you see. So yeah, this worship thing, like you have to ask, why do people worship? That's through religion and being afraid that if they don't worship this God or deity, that they're going to be punished, because he requires you to do these things that don't make sense. Like he wants you, people say he needs love. He needs us to love him. It's like, why? Because that shows a weakness. Because if you have everything you need and you're confident, etc., why do you need someone else to worship you? What's that about? Like, so yeah, to answer the question directly, no, Anu should not be worshipped. But people will use the terms like I've just given you, like respect, showing reverence, showing gratitude, to be worshipping and groveling and begging for someone to do something for you that you can do for yourself. You follow? So I hope that's clear. Okay, let's go on. It says, with everything of Jones, HMU 9551, with everything that is taking place in our lives and in the world now and in the near future, would it still be wise to start a business such as a bookstore? Yes, I mean, everything that's going on, you have to remember that there are different worlds coexisting at the same time. And what you say, with everything that's taking place in our lives in the world, there are different worlds. That's why the scriptures even told you, be in the world, but not of it. Or you can be in your own world, which is separate from the world that is going down. Like we say, there's a time that will come, and this is the time we're in, known as the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Again, you have to say which Lord, and who is it great for, and who is it dreadful for, right? We teach and tell you this time has been prophesied and has been coming for a very long time. In fact, for the last 24,000 years. And, those 24,000 years are broken down into 6,000 year cycles of, like I said, sun cycle, moon cycle, moon cycle. Then it starts again after the rotation of 24,000 years. 6 times 4 is 24, right? And then the cycle starts again. There are cycles within cycles within cycles. So when we say this great and dreadful day of the Lord, we're talking about the last 6,000 years of the moon cycle has ended to start this new world of 24,000 years. And there's a shift in frequency for those who are able to raise their vibration and their mentality of consciousness to this new change. And some people are descending and some people are ascending. So in those 6,000 years, they're broken down into 2,000 years each too. I mean, you can break them down as many as you want, but going back to the very first moment, right? But anyway, the last 2,000 of the 6,000 years, that's why we see the bigger numbers. So we said a year 2000, okay? So the last 6,000 years ended in the year 2000 of the moon cycle. Now the new sun cycle has started. This comes with a new world. This is why it says, even in what they call the Lord's Prayer in religion, it says what? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed or holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come to earth as it is in heaven. This new kingdom is by these, like part of Babylon, this being coming down here, building a new heaven on earth. But for you to make that shift, that dimensional shift, that conscious shift, your mind, your brain has to basically be exercised to receive and transform you from the inside out, because this is the sun cycle, is the time of awakening, is the new consciousness. So some people are dealing with lower vibrations and others are ascending to the high dimensions and the frequency that you have to be to survive the things that are happening. So, put it simply, you have, let's say, an acidic environment, or let's say disagreeable environment, and you have an alkaline environment dealing with your body, your physical body or whatever, right? If your body, the environment is conducive for healthy living, then you're going to be healthy. If it's not, then you're going to be acidic and you're going to be sick, because diseases and certain parasites and certain things only thrive in a particular environment. So yeah, we're saying if you're with us and you're working with us and you're with Wu-Sabat and you're part of the community, then yeah, definitely we should have bookstores, because this is how we get the information out to people in their local vicinity or area. So it is wise, and until you're guided or directed otherwise. But yes, definitely. And it also depends on, you have to be wise. That's why we say come in and be guided, because you have to know where to open it. There's no point opening a business or a bookstore somewhere where it's going to be not profitable or dangerous, or so you do need guidance. But if that's something you want to do, yeah, work with us, work from the inside out. Suket Ra, Rahubat Zamal, thank you. Oh yeah, Tawutat. Let's keep going. Second question, Zamal. Is it part of the processes, the more we evolve in 9 ether, we get put off sex? I'm not on it with chicks like I was before. Yeah, because you start to recognize things like, the genetic kiss. We have, we have the actual fact genetic kiss, because you start to realize, for some people, they don't know that being sexually active is taking in a lot of different spirits and different entities that affect your life. So yeah, you're right. You start to realize that you have to cleanse and clean from the inside out, and you start to recognize the science as well as the art of sex. It's not just, like you just, like you watch movies. It amazes me with the Adamites where someone will just meet someone, in the pub, or they go out and then the next minute they're doing it. It's like, you don't know this person. Or I watched a movie yesterday that, two people met on a plane, and when they landed, they went into the car and was doing it. Like, just like that. They teach you like to be promiscuous and very frivolous with something that's supposed to be sacred, and it's something that can lead to offspring, and you bring in entities into this world, and there's a responsibility that comes with that. So yes, you're definitely right. The more knowledge you have, the more you're on Wu-Sabat, the more you're on 9 ether knowledge, you do get put off, because you start to use your mind more to think about, does this make sense? I'm exchanging bodily fluids, and I could be taking on genetics of this person who has 30 personalities or 29 or less personalities, and each one of those has 29 or 30 or less personalities, and all that DNA is going to be passed on to you and to your offspring and your next generation. So yeah, it's a very important question. All right, let's keep going. Soket Ra, it's extremely hard to trust the family because many don't accept actual fact and parteract. Yeah, and this is one of the challenges we have, because we're really not, if somebody doesn't accept it, they don't accept it. Do you know what I mean? You can't force them to accept it. You've done your bit, your part in letting them know. And if they choose not to accept it, then if you read the Revelations of the Sabians, or the Bridge to Salvation, and even the Proverbs of Yanun, it tells you what the consequence of what they're doing is going to be for them, because they know, they were told or shown, and they turned their backs or refused to accept it. And you just have to know, that you do the best in your part, and be the best example and keep it moving. We're not in the game of we're not trying to, like religions do, where they're trying to, we're not trying to recruit people. Like, Wu-Sabat is what it is. It stands on its own. Nothing can touch it. And you either accept it or you don't. It's also genetic. You may get the genetic explosion or you may not. But you've just got to remember, you've done your part and keep it moving. Pharaoh again, and it's like my hearing and sight and sense of smell towards others is getting more extreme and heightened. So true. It's the same with me. Like, it's true. You get so, because you're tuning yourself into your higher, senses. So you're right. You do pick up a lot. Coca Brown's in the house, Rahubat. So yeah, it's the more you develop, the harder it is to be around certain people or certain situations, but you still also have to use a shook to help people up. You got to pull people up with your love and humility, etc. Like, you have to be that. It's like the master said, he went into places to help and bring people out. Like, there was a situation back in the day when he was in a club and he saw someone in the club and they came up to him and they were like, or I don't know, what you disco or whatever, like, and they said, what are you doing here? And he said, I've come to get you. Why are you in here? Which was quite funny. It's on a recording. But a lot of times religious people, they become so self-righteous, they look down on people, or they don't want to go out on the front line and talk to people and reach and save souls. So I'm saying, don't become so righteous to the point where you forget where you've come from, or you don't have that that humility to be able to like reach out and help the next person. That's why we always say, what? Each one reach one, each one teach one. Okay? Okay, Maria. The mind, line 25, described falling from being to supreme being to human to man to mortal to mammal to animal to beast. What's the difference between human being, human, man, mortal, apart from the vibration and frequency? It's in mainly the actions, because like, you can't look at someone and just say, oh, that's a supreme being, oh, that's a human being, oh, that's even a demon, for example, or a beast. You can't just look at someone. I mean, sometimes you can because of their appearance and how they carry themselves, but generally it's about the actions. What do they do? Yeah, because a beast, an animal beast, will behave like an animal beast, lacking intelligence. And when we say intelligence, we're talking about the intel in your genes or the genetics that you have activated to make you reason, and then the actions that follow that reasoning is going to be of someone who is of a higher being. So like you're saying, if you're in a, you see how people react to a situation. Some people still exhibit lower vibrations. I know you say apart from the vibration, but the vibration is what results in the action. So you can be around someone and they're just negative, like they're angry, they're easy to anger, and the anger then results into what they do. Like, I don't know, they may get frantic, scream and shout and destroy things. Whereas someone who's more mental or dealing with their higher being and they're on the higher vibration, they will be able to stay calm in a situation, because in that moment you've got to have your wits about you. You've got to be calm. You've got to be able to be logical and reason things out, because screaming, shouting and panicking may not amount to anything in terms of solving the problem or the issue. So yeah, it's more about the actions of how someone goes about doing something. Because you see people do things in a particular way and you'll be like, that's not making any sense. And yeah, so it's about the intelligence and what comes from the actions of the mind that they're using to discern and to do what they do. All right, hope that helps. Rahubat Sakin, shout out all students, Sabians, Nuwapians, Ashok. Yeah, Rahubat. Excuse me. Okay, Rahubat and Ashok to you too. Okay, not Tone Tech, another quick question. Why, because I'm Caucasian, is my penis so small and pink? I have to laugh at that one. Genetics. I mean, you can't generalize, but generally, there's this actually, it's funny, but there is a seriousness to that question, because if you go back and look at statues in terms of like the Greeks and the Romans, because you know, you can walk around like the city, go to churches, even like the angels, cherubs, and you know, they have all of these statues of Caucasians or Adamites, and they show, you know, their genitals. And there was something known as penis envy, which, you know, brought about men and Nagaru men being castrated, and during, like, you know, the slavery days and things like that. And that just came from a jealousy of, because it may seem like a silly question, but it kind of ties into this. A lot of people see this symbol, right? But they really don't even know, they don't even ask the question. What is that symbol? What is it about? Like, what's the breakdown? And this literally ties into your question, because this is the story of Isis, Osiris, and Horus. The eye represents, if you know about that story, yeah, the situation between Seth, the brother of Osiris, how he basically went about unaliving him, right, by pretending he was giving him a present as a beautiful sarcophagus, and told him to go in it and try it out to see if it fits. Obviously, it was a trick, and then when he went in, he shut it, disembodied him, and many pieces were thrown all over. I think 14 pieces. I'm just giving you a quick summary because the story is actually quite detailed. But anyway, what happened is his wife, Osiris, looked for all the body parts of, his wife Isis, the wife of Osiris, looked for all his body parts, and then the last one that was to be found was the penis, or it's referred to as the phallus, okay? As simple as this story is, that phallus was responsible for bringing back a son, the son Horus, and the eye represents that battle. He had to have many battles with his uncle, Seth, and his eye got damaged and so on and so forth. So when you see that one symbol, there's a lot, there's the story behind it. But that phallus, or the penis, is the lighthouse, because that was dealing with the birth, or what people now call the Immaculate Conception in religion. Because that phallus, that's why most churches, most mosques, most religious places will have the minaret, okay, which is the symbol of that phallus or that penis. And then they will have the dome shape, which is again symbolic of the breast, because as the story goes on, you go to the Madonna, which is when Isis was suckling or breastfeeding, you know, Horus. And that story is what's been taken into religion, where now you see most, as I said, capital buildings or capital cities, they always have what? That obelisk, which is representing that phallus, because you're dealing with life. And without the sperm coming out of that symbol, an erected symbol, which shows fertility and the ability to procreate. And it all ties all the way back to why, as I said before, the Negroids or Nagaru were being castrated in when they were being hung, and you know, they saw their genitals, and there was an envy because the women, goes to the Adamites women, they were wanting to sleep with the Nagaru men, and they had to mix in. So it sounds like we laughed about it, but in seriousness, there is a lot behind it, which, as I said, caused a lot of what we call penis envy. Until this day, that still plays out. Okay. Wow, is that meant there's so many questions. Okay, let me see if we can run through this more swiftly. I can't remember who asked that question, but yeah, there you go. That was for you, Tone Tech. And this is why people want to mix to stay alive and to carry on with their offspring by mixing with other races, especially Negroids. And we've been mixed the most, because so many different races are mixed with the black woman, because she's the goddess of the planet. Okay, let's keep going. People who have asked so many questions, I'm gonna have to attend to other people's questions just to make it a little bit fair, because sometimes people are asking a lot of questions one after the other. So Pharaoh, let me get to some other people's questions. Tone Tech again, last question. Why did Jacob make white people? I've been wondering what the hell I'm doing here since 1974. Listen, this we break down this so many times about white and black people, and these are misnomers. They're actually species of people. And when you say Jacob, that's going to the biblical story, which ties into the Jacob story, who grafted a different species of beings known as the Flugerods, all right? And when you're saying white people, not all white people are referred to as Adamites. So they're different beings. Not everyone is an Adamite. The Adamites were grafted 6,000 years ago by way of the Pleiadians, and you know, there was a purpose for it. Ultimately, they were meant to be food for the gods, these Pleiadians, and so that the Draconian could stop eating them. So they gave them a substitute. So everyone has a purpose. So if you're saying, you know, it depends on who you are. If you're an Adamite, then yeah, you were made really to be a food source, just like how humans eat other animals for food source. And there's a master secret called The Farm that goes into more detail on that, all right? And you know, you say you've been wondering what the hell you're doing here since 1974. Well, from the year 2000 down to 2030, the Adamites are being removed. So, you know, if you're one of them, you may not be here for much longer. So you sound like you don't want to be here anyway. All right, let's keep going. Top 5 comparables. So Ken, can give a quick overview of the Leviathan. I have not had a chance to make it to the books that cover the topic, and I'm not sure if you made a video on it yet. Forgive me if you covered it. I can't remember myself. I probably have, but we've got them here. These 2 books that you can see here. 666 Leviathan the Beast as the Antichrist. There are 4 parts. I only have parts 1 and 2. But it explains, because it comes from the beast, because again, there was a question previously talking about the different levels of beings, and one of the last one was the beast, because the beast is actually a system and people as well. And it refers to how Leviathan, which is it's a 6 ether force that comes in many forms, right? And utilizes, 6 ether to bring about the chaos and the suffering that people are experiencing. And when we say suffering, sometimes people don't really understand what suffering is, or they don't differentiate the difference between pain and suffering. What's the difference between pain and suffering? The pain, right? A pain is like you could buck your toe, or you can cut yourself by accident and you have pain. That pain will subside after a while. Suffering is the mental suffering, or things that you're experiencing because, for example, you don't have answers to questions or traumas that you've gone through, and you're experiencing this suffering daily, you see? Or you're going through this, it could be psychological, physiological, emotional, mental, all these types of suffering because of wrong knowledge or misinformation. So that's what the beast does. Is very good. Leviathan it uses things like sex, money, greed, jealousy. It comes in all forms, and gives people suffering in a way that, until you start to really dismantle Leviathan, and like my brother said before, it's funny because a lot of the questions we've just had recently, you guys, sometimes someone might be trying to be funny or silly, but the questions we've had about being put off sex, because it's a sex force as well, right? The questions we've had dealing with these things that people suffer from is because of Leviathan. And it's a system headed by, you see the picture on the front? Yeah? By a thorn. And these heads of countries that make up the beast. And it's got many horns, and, we might actually do another video on it just because you've asked. But yeah, so Leviathan is how people are controlled, or the mind control, because like I said, the suggestions, the whispers, the media, the advertising, the social media, all of these things that influence your mind to have you suffering in a draconian system, because this is tying into the dragon people, right? That's why I said in the books of Revelation 12:7, it talks about the beast and the dragon. The dragon warred with Michael, and he was cast down to the planet Earth, and he came down here and created systems. Like there's a actual computer system called IBM 366, which it was in Belgium, and it was controlled by, it was called the beast, but this ties into how the World Wide Web and things like that came about, because everyone's connected to it. It's like a web that controls you by how much suggestion or evil can be made fair seeming. But it's a system that ties into every facet of society, and they just come up with diabolical stratagems continuously to make you suffer. And that's why many people on the planet are suffering. And we're here with the solution with Wu-Sabat to answer all those questions, to untangle that spaghetti mind that has people confused to the point where they're not logical, they're not making sense, because they read a book and they're told these stories of these extraterrestrial beings, and they accept them without any investigation, without any research, without any logics, without putting things together and reasoning to say this makes no sense, but I'm following it blindly. That's what we call blind faith. You're following something with no proof, and you don't even want to use your own discernment to be like, does this make sense? This is absolute madness. And unfortunately, the mental health issue is at all-time high. And this is how you will achieve clarity of mind, by learning the truth. The truth will what? Make you free. It will free your mind. So I really do hope, even that word hope, hope, I would say I trust it helps you. And you say, who do I trust? I trust the ancestors that will help you to make sense of it. All right, so that was Leviathan. Let's keep going. That question, Pharaoh, the Draconians have been having wars and fights for as long as you can remember, and that's coming to an end now. Like it's really, once the 60th forces are removed forever, and most of you people who are just asking questions about, when we talk about suffering and the Leviathan and the beast and the chaos and you are helping if you're not transforming yourself. This is why we ask the question, are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? Because if you're continuously doing the things that keeps this beast and this system in place, then you're just to blame, because you have to come out of that. You have to transform from that six ether mindset and doing the things that keep you on those low vibrations and frequencies. So Wu-Sabat is the best solution to help you do that. Okay, let's keep going. I don't even know why did my first question get deleted. We do have mods on this, because some people will be acting the clown and doing silly things, and we don't, we don't have no tolerance or not, and we don't deal with that nonsense. So if you don't behave yourself and come correct and ask questions without trying to, outsmart yourself, then they may get deleted. All right, let's keep going. Cost trader. So Ken, I was in the Mormon religion. What purpose does the moment play in this whole saga, and is there any books that I can read or give to my family to help them get informed? Yeah, you know what's funny? This scroll, history, or his story, yeah, goes into it, because you can see right there, there's Charles T. Russell right there, yeah? He's one of the people featured here, because these are the people that are part of the beast system we were just talking about, and part of, enforcing Leviathan, and they're part of the Luciferian conspiracy, all these people. So you can see Anton Levi or Levi on there, you see Hitler on there, you see President Nixon, you see, many people on there, Joseph Smith. So when you're talking about the Mormons, Charles T. Russell, who a lot of people don't, this is what I was saying about not using your mind and logics to think and just following things blindly. If you do some research on him, right? Charles T. Russell is Jehovah's Witness, but Joseph Smith, I was correct about the Mormon. They received information for them, just like Muhammad received information for the tribe of the Quraysh, just like the Romans received their, Jesus, and different cultures received. Everyone was sent, every race was sent their warner, and they didn't listen to him either. So when you say, what role does it play? You have to let people know, right? It depends on who they are. In this day and time, in the final chapter, Wu-Sabat is the answer to the troubled world, and anybody who wants to make it in terms of, as you say, waking up and getting that right knowledge, they literally have to study Wu-Sabat. All of these other religions weren't really for us, not our way of life. And yeah, they don't really play much in terms of this whole saga, other than they're perpetuating this myth, this beast system, religion, etc. These lesser mysteries, and you have to try and give them right knowledge, give them patarak, the way, and give them actual facts so that they can learn and make their own decision. Because we do have a book called The Decision. Oh yeah, it's behind me, right? So it's down to each and every one to face the truth and accept it or not. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Tone Tech, if you still want to, you know what I mean, remain here and not be removed or deleted, you may not be aware, but when you have caps, that's considered shouting in social media. And that language you're using, yeah, I think now you're starting. At first, I thought you were being sensible and asking. Well, I kind of thought I was suspicious, but you've just shown us that, you know, can't behave yourself. So if you're not going to behave yourself, we won't answer your questions and we will remove you. Yeah, you're definitely being silly now, and I really don't want to do it to you, but you know, sometimes you're just digging your own grave. All right, I'm gonna ignore you because you're being silly now. Come correct or check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right, let me move on to Gen 7130. Does the word Shazam come from Egypt? No. There is a scroll called I think it's the Pale Man or the Dog that goes into it. It might even be it's actually one. It comes from, yeah. It's actually another name for Satan. Yeah, it comes from it just came to me and then it left. But it's another word for Satan. Let me see if I can find. But yeah, so but when you say I'm trying to remember what scroll that is in. Yeah, it might have been it might have been a Luciferian conspiracy, and it's definitely in who is the devil? Who and where is the devil? We got a call. Live caller, Rahul Bat. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Rahul Bat there, Moisa. Hope everyone's all right, doing their best and stuff, as always. It's T from the UK. Just giving you guys a call, just ask a few questions now. So the first question that I've got, well, okay, I'll make it one and only. Right. The only question that I've got is, imagine I jump off the phone now, right?
Yep.
And as soon as I put the phone down, you've got 8 billion people as your audience. What can you let us know that we need to do to get the master teacher out? Because I want to meet this great teacher, bro. I want to see him personally, face to face, so I can have a conversation with him. I know that he's been where he is for a long time now, but
you know what?
He needs to come out. And I really want him to come out still. So at least it's not only going to be me. There's going to be millions of us that want to meet him, bro. Do you understand? But I do want to meet this great teacher. Obviously, it will be between me and him what we speak about. But I do want to physically meet him. So I'm going to jump off the phone.
Yeah.
You've got 8 billion people as the audience. I want to listen to what you got to say. And thank you very, very much. And obviously, all the things that you've been doing so far has been flawless. No matter what no one says. Like, sometimes I'm in my own world too, and I don't really hear some of the things that are going on, and I kind of like just hear it back from like you guys, like you were saying earlier about people spreading rumors about like, you know, this is not the master teacher's work and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm glad that I wasn't listening to those kind of conversations. I've just been in my own world, just getting on with my own stuff, but still following, and you know what I mean? Also, there's another point that I want to make here. It doesn't matter what book you get from the master teacher, and it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. You can get one book and read it, and it can do so much for you in a positive way. Literally, I've done it my own self. I've grabbed books. I don't know what to expect, and I've learned something. And it's like, wow, if I didn't read this book, I wouldn't have known this information. It's really helped. That's why I tune in as much as I can and try and get involved. There'll be more involvement, by the way, but you've got your audience now, 8 billion people. Thank you very much, brother. Okay, thank you.
Tua.
Tawat.
Yeah, you touched on quite a lot of good points, and yeah, I mean, like I was saying with that question that you've just gone back to in terms of people saying whatever they're saying, it's like his tone isn't his tone. He has a kind of, I don't know how to put it, man, magic in terms of the way he puts things together. So if you know his tone and you know his writing, and you know, you will feel it and you will know it's him. Like I say to people all the time, if you have your best friend, you know their tone, you know their voice, they can call you in the middle of the night from anywhere in the world, and when you answer that phone, you're going to know their voice. It's the same with a master. This is what I was saying before, that if you have been reading his books and you're connected to him, remember when you're reading, you're connected to him directly, mentally, spiritually, and you know for sure it hits you because it actually has an impact on your being, in your DNA. You get DNA explosions, and that's part of the formula that he has put specifically for you individually. So you will know. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But those who know, know. Those who talk don't know, and those who know don't talk. Mum's the word. All right, but to get back to your question that you've just posed, if there were 8 million people, you know, I'm just smiling because it just feel like you put it out there, innit? So we got to manifest it now. So you want to meet him, you can make that happen. The part of meeting him and what we say to people all the time, it's very simple, it's very basic. People overcomplicate it. We tell you, get involved with your local stores. Go there, frequent there. If you don't have one near you, go to the nearest one that you do. And if you're too far away, you can join an online community with one of those stores, because all the stores, all the communities do have a web presence, whether it's on Clubhouse, Telegram, on Zoom calls, emails. There's some way or method that you can be connected with the family and make it sincere. Ask, A-S-K, ask, seek, and knock. You will get the doors open and you will get your answers, and you will know basic instructions. If you're a Nwapian man, attend Nwapian men meeting. It's getting to a point where we keep telling you, you're not going to get all the information online in public on YouTube, and there's certain things that are happening that you need to be able to be involved in, and you're not going to do that if you don't get close, right? That's number one. And that means go to Nwapian man meetings, go to the store, go to events, get yourself on the inside before the doors are shut and you can't get in. Don't say I never told you, I never gave you enough information. But as we are coming to the last few minutes, if there were 8 billion people watching right now, right? This is what I would do. I would say, can everyone give a hand for the master teacher and let him come and speak, and let him just take over and speak, and then that's it. We would just listen. That's what I would do. I'll introduce him and bring him on the stage and let him speak, you know. So that would be the most amazing moment ever, you know. So we've put it out there now. We've got to make it a reality now. So let's manifest that. All right. But great question. Yeah, many people have been in tune, connected to him spiritually, mentally. People have had visits from him, and he's, you know, he's available if you know how to open that door. So we're telling you basic instructions to do, but it's down to you. Wow. Is that a caller? Rahubat, as we said, greetings, cool. Huh? Oh, okay, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, we're coming to the last 13 minutes, so I'm going to try and get through as many questions as I can. But if you do want to call in, remember you can live. The number's +44, which is the international code for the UK. Then add 753 996 3882, and you can get through and we can take your question live. Another question, Rahba, in Birth of Earth, what does it mean to decipher the 24 genomes? Right, so I think it's 24,000 genomes. So the human, this is what we're saying scientifically, you're made up of genes, and they've studied the genetic makeup of the human and deciphered, or when we say deciphered, they've worked out what each one does. So there are 24,000 genomes, and the reason it's 24 is because it ties into, this is called Project 24. In fact, I read a bit of it earlier on, and I'm just going to read that again just to answer that question, because the circumference of the planet is 24,000 miles. And this is referred to by extraterrestrials as Project 24, right? Sector 3. I want to just show you. Yeah, so let me answer the chromosome one before. So it says, so 24, let me go to the bit that is dealing with the 24,000. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'll read from page 8. Let me go from, in fact, I'll go from 47 on page 7, right? Verse 47. So the designer genes were for Project 24, or the 24 plus 24 equals 48 chromosomes of the simian creatures, with 23 plus 23 equals 46 chromosomes of the humanoid creature, with the 23.5 and 23.5 equals 47 chromosomes of the Anunnaki creature, 48. Then later, more crossbreedings were done for the next freak show, the mixing in of Mahmat, Egypt, of this new humanoid mankind with Kulabu, canines, right? Khuzar, porcine, Kuradu, simian, or dogs, pigs, monkeys, and a new creature was made, a beast man. 49. He is not human, he is humanized, yet never can be civilized. A flesh eater, a drug taker, alcohol drinker, lives by danger, greed, lust, killing the race of devils on the earth. Mankind, a kind of man, beast. 50. He mixed his Yakhasat genes with all others to spread his mental marad, disease, the world over. 51. Of the 24,000 genome, he only uses 6,000 Yakhasat human genes. The rest is Dabat Fatar, beast nature. 52. His mental age is only 13. So he called it the age of adulthood in their religion. This is why you have the bar mitzvah for males and the bat mitzvah female. 53. Later, the evil offspring of their religion from Torah laws to gospel laws changed it to 21 for the Ayashu males, 18 for females, which is what? 666, a multiple of 6 plus 6 plus 6, giving you 18. Yet their akal minds never go above age 13. To them, Haya life and Mawat death is a game of chance. 54. All of these crossbreedings resulted in a virus and a maradhat, diseases. They were given, 55, they were given 6,000 years from 4000 BC to take control of the whole Mikha planet, rule the Yamam sea, Patat sky, and Sakar land, and all the people of the other races. 56. Khamim Salau, the black race, Mungaru, the Negroids, Afafreye Ka'au, Africans, the Samir Salau, brown race, the Mudradu, Indians, the yellow race, Mungalu, Asians, all by the year 2000 AD. They failed in all ways. 57, and now are being removed from Tapal Sakham, world power and wealth and rule. The rule or Tador, dominion, is out of their reach as they fade from existence. Tapal, the world looks on as they in fright seek others to back them and are rejected by all except those with much of their DNA ruling their genes by mixing. Okay, so that touched on the 24,000 genome because it deals with how they were able to decipher each race on the planet by way of the genome project, which was first done in 1953, but by the year 2000 they were able to like literally break down everyone based on their genetics, based on the Human Genome Project, which you can actually look up on Google. But yeah, this planet's referred to as Project 24 and Sector 24 because it's an extraterrestrial plan dealing with how they were involved in what takes place or took place on this planet with the beings on it, especially the Adamites of 6,000 years ago. All right. Okay. Okay, let's we got 4 questions before we wrap up. All right, let's go. Vision Alliance. I have been following the master teacher and I have accepted him as my holy father and master teacher, and I've been reading and learning all I can contain, but I'm gonna start going viral. Thank you for reminding me with that point. You see the viral thing, like literally if everyone, and that ties into what you're saying as well, T, in your last question, everyone shared the OSM videos and those people shared it and those people shared it, we will go viral in terms of everyone posting videos. Even make your own videos, tag us in your videos, reshare, repost, mix our videos, make shorts on TikTok and on other platforms. Let us all just be, when anybody searches for truth, for information, you know, we become that Google that, you know, what comes up every time. So anyone who has been studying and has this knowledge, share what you know, make videos, let people know. So that's a great thing what you're saying there, Vision Alliance 6701. Yeah, we're here to, you know, to help you. And if you make great videos, we can feature them as well on our platforms. All right. Wise Words 671. How can we destroy the evil reptilians, Pleiadians, and other evil aliens that are trying to destroy the earth? We're doing it by the fact that you're breaking away from their control. You're raising your vibration. You're applying and exposing the lies, the fictions, by telling truth and sharing this, and uniting and coming together under a shook divine love. You know, we're not separated because I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, I'm a, you know, all these different names and divisions, and, you know, I'm atheist. It's just confusion, and it's like, it's by design. Don't be afraid of telling the truth. Don't be afraid of, oh, you're going to be damned and you're going to die and go to hell forever and all of that. That's all that propaganda that literally has you not being who you really are by nature. Your energy, you cannot be destroyed. So how can you end this? It's like, it doesn't end here. You transform and you continue to exist in other realms, and you can, you know, come back as well if you don't make it to go further up to a different realm. So yeah, it's all about love. It sounds like a cliche, but when we say love, we're talking about divine love, a shook unconditional love, and the cooperation and harmony of all people based on Wu-Sabat. All right? Let's keep going. Last two questions. Oh, Vision Alliance again. And I would for someone to reach out so I can share my thoughts, because everyone I get up and speak, I give him honor as the master teacher. Yeah, I mean, one-to-ones, you can do one-to-ones to express yourself and share. You know, you can book one-to-ones through OSM Vision. Email info@osmvision.co.uk and book a one-to-one. If you would like to share and have a one-to-one with me, we can do that, we can arrange that. And the last question for the day. Okay, there's another one before this. From Pharaoh, Zamal, tell T to keep a pic of our master teacher in his bedroom or wherever he sleeps, and he will visit. Okay, yeah, that's a reality. All right, last question for the day. Why are some of the videos being restricted to members only? I explained this from the beginning. This channel has always had membership. And if you go to other platforms and other channels, they have membership. And membership get privileges and they get discounts and they get things first because they're loyal. They're supporting us. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do a lot of the time, because, you know, this is what we do for you lot. And you think about how much effort and work goes into making sure we get you this information continuously, constantly, and consistently, you know. And so, yeah, it's like anything else. When you go to, let me make it simple. If you go to a supermarket, you get their card, whether it's a club card or whatever card. I don't want to name any brands, but you know what I'm saying. And when you go to checkout, you give them your discount card and you get what? A lower price, or you get something first because they will email you to let you know this is the offer. We give it to you first because you are a member and you support us. And the thing is, everything the members get, you get too. It's just staggered a little bit. So you might get it a little bit later, but you still get it. It's just these members, we really want to give, you know, a shook to them for their support. Because a lot of the times, in fact, before I go, it's 9:30 now, we're going to wrap up. I'm doing a class this Saturday for those who join on the classes on Zoom or Clubhouse. The title of the class is, you got to do more than talk. And it all ties into what we've spoken about today, right? So tune in on Saturday for that. You got to do more than talk, because people will say, why are the videos this? Why do you pay for books? And it's like, if you're thinking about us building communities, building things for us to get away from, like somebody just asked, how do we get away from this evil reptilians and draconians and aliens are trying to destroy the earth? We only do that by building and having a counteraction to the negativity by doing positive things. And we are doing that. This is why OSM is there. Our souls matter. And for some of them, they don't want to recognize that. In fact, they want your soul for their own purpose. So, yeah, I hope that's answered the question. And if you would definitely want to do a one-to-one for real, as I said, email info@osmvision.co.uk and let's get that booked in for you, all right? All right, family, Moisar, Wadu, until next time, same place, same channel. And yeah, look out for the class Saturday coming. You got to do more than talk. All right, Wadu, Moisar.
There's a concentrated stop. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here.
And then you start to look at
who is God. God is God.
I found out that this man who was Dr. Malachi York,
This free eye actors thing, they're playing on the ignorance of the masses. They let you know what they want you to know.
I said I was going to take all y'all back to Egypt with me. I can't because the Arabs are messing everything up, so hell, I'm bringing Egypt here for you.
they've made so much jokes about aliens, but the word really is extraterrestrials or extra beings.
A sword myth. In our language, that means the black man.
They say, oh, it's a craft, and then you start to look at the whole Anunnaki thing. The devil was telling the truth, and God was lying.
Amongst us, we have those beings, those high beings, going back 9 billion years ago, who are here on the planet.
Extraterrestrials do leave their children here. We can name drop them. David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, caught up in their spiritual or their scientific knowledge of who they were, and they were caught up in both worlds. Within the center of the earth is hollow. There's beings that actually live and reside in there.
They now have fighter jets whereby it's connected to the pilot's subconscious.
Hitler was building this craft in the Antarctic.
You can't claim innocence due to ignorance. It doesn't say at the beginning, it says in the beginning. That means during a replenishing period. So that means that the earth was already there.
Some lost their soul because they've mixed in with other creatures on the planet. And when you mix in with other creatures are on a lower level.
Souls are recycled. Spirits are recycled. Most people have not been taught the information about the spirit and the soul.